And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And here I am once again on the rock-bound coast of Mid-Coast Maine, my truly happy place. And this episode is dedicated to Billy, one of Mid-Coast Maine's finest, who passed away just last week. You know, Maine is one of those interesting states that divides its electoral votes according to the congressional district method, meaning that it's not winner take all, as most states do, but whoever takes the congressional district gets that congressional district's electoral vote. So Maine will probably split theirs. I'm saying that where I am right now is Trump territory, although southern Maine, much more left-wing, really part of the People's Republic of Massachusetts, of which it was once a part. But here in God's country, it really is Trump territory. As I say, other than Nebraska, the only state that does it by the congressional district method. And there's been a lot of chatter this week about the vice presidential selection. And normally, the selection of vice president is not that big a deal. It hasn't really impacted the presidential race very often. I guess LBJ in 1960 with John F. Kennedy is a notable exception, but rarely does it make a whole lot of difference. The name Tompkins and Hobart aren't really exactly household names. They were both vice presidents. But from time to time, it's incredibly important. 8 people have gone from the vice presidency directly to the presidency because of the death of a president. 1 went because of resignation. 2 others have served for very short periods of time with the duties of the president because of the provisions of the 25th Amendment. And all of that leads us to Joe Biden's selection. There really are a couple of things at play here. First, obviously, the actuarial tables. If elected, Joe Biden would be 78 when he was inaugurated. America's oldest president, Ronald Reagan, was 77 when he left office, not when he came in. And additionally, there are questions about Joe Biden's competency right now. He had this dust up with a reporter this week where he said, why the hell would I take a cognitive test? Well, for one reason is that you already told us you did it long ago. Apparently you didn't. But there are serious issues about Biden's cognitive abilities at this point. He has a very tough time stringing together an English sentence if he's not reading off of a teleprompter. 4 years ago, health issues were part of the campaign. The media focused on Donald Trump's health, largely because of his age. By the way, he's 4 years younger than Joe Biden. Those were fair questions to ask, so they're certainly fair to ask of Joe Biden. And why doesn't he take the cognitive test? And why doesn't he reveal all of his medical records so that the American people can make a truly informed judgment on whether or not he's got it to serve in office? But now come the vice presidential sweepstakes. And he has delayed his decision-making, interestingly so, because it doesn't appear that he's settled on anybody. Look, Susan Rice was at the top of the list for a while, but you can just imagine Benghazi being the automatic indicator of everything she does throughout the campaign. I mean, the word association there is 1 for 1. Susan Rice, Benghazi. Karen Bass, Fidel Castro, our buddy. You know, there are certainly a lot of really left-wing choices for Biden to make. He passed over Stacey Abrams, the woman that said she really won the Georgia governor's race despite the fact that she was 50,000 plus votes behind. That's roughly the population of the city of Harrisburg, where I reside. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that he's dealing with. He dealt out half the population when he said, I'll only pick a woman, and then when his campaign essentially said he'll only pick a woman of color, he limited his choices dramatically. Instead of saying, I'm going to focus on the person who is most qualified and who could best lead the country were I to be elected and unable to serve a full term, he's chosen the politics of identity. Big mistake on his part, but let's see who he picks. I'm still betting on Kamala Harris. I said from the beginning I thought she'd be on the national ticket. I still think she will. She's a relatively safe pick. And this is a man running a rose basement strategy. He doesn't want to take any risks. I don't think he will with this one either. And we've said all along that the economy ultimately is what people will vote on in November, especially those truly undecided and persuadable voters. There's another issue, of course, coming into play now, and that is public safety and law and order, as we see increased violence, anarchy, and lawlessness in the streets. That issue plays to Donald Trump's forehand. And the polls are beginning to indicate that things are starting to swing back in his direction. State after state, those battleground and key swing states look better and better for Trump. And continue to watch that as we look at the economy, where this week the markets were taking off. A straight run for the Dow throughout the month of August thus far. 5 consecutive days coming out of a good day at the end of July on the upswing, over 27,000 at this point. And the NASDAQ this week hitting record highs and eclipsing the 11,000 mark. It flirted with it a couple of days, but closed one day a point below 11,000. It then hit the mark, and despite a little bit of a take back on Friday, still above 11,000 at the close at the end of the week. All of those good indicators for the economy because the markets bet on the future. And the jobs report this week, still not as good as it should be, but better than expected. And gold, look what it did this week, up 34% in the wake of the Beirut bombing. Gold's very big in the Middle East, by the way. So there are a lot of indicators that look better and better for the Trump economy and the comeback from where we were at the beginning of this pandemic. And finally, a word of sadness at the passing of Brent Scowcroft, National Security Advisor Extraordinaire, a great statesman, a great patriot who gave so much to this nation. He will be sorely missed, and may God rest his soul. But for now, from the mid-coast of Maine, my truly happy place, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.